Hello YouTube, welcome back to another watch video. Here I am reviewing the Seiko Alpinist SARB017. And let me tell you, this is a special watch in my collection. I've had it in my possession since I received it as a birthday present back in 2013, and it is one of my few green watches. As you saw in the previous video clips, I like to keep it on a green Italian leather band because the green goes well with the dial. But for the purposes of this watch review, let's go ahead and put it back on the original Seiko watch band that it came with from the manufacturer, so you can see what you can expect to get from when you buy this watch. I did get this watch shipped directly from Japan actually, and that also makes this watch unique amongst my collection. But here we go with the watch review, and again, if you like this video, please hit the like button, and definitely, absolutely, please subscribe to the channel. It encourages me to put new videos up, and it also keeps you on track of the watches that I'm reviewing. I'm planning to upload some more Seiko watch videos as well, so if you like Seikos, hit that subscribe button. Let's begin with watch measurements. This watch has a case diameter of 38 millimeters across, and a case thickness of 12 millimeters off the wrist. The lug-to-lug length is 46.3 millimeters, so this is what it's going to look like in terms of sizability on your wrist. And the band width is 20 millimeters, so that gives you some ideas in terms of what you can apply. Again, this is the faux leather band of a crocodile type texture. It's not the greatest quality, but there's plenty of other bands that you can attach to it. As you can see on the dial, it does say automatic Diashock, and it does have the number of joules as well as the water resistance written on the dial. More information, this is the Seiko 6R15 movement, which is actually a very high quality movement that you see often in even more expensive Seikos. It is automatic, meaning it is self-winding. 23 joules on this movement, and the vibrations per hour is 21,000, so that gives that smooth moving of the seconds hand. It does have a manual wind function as well, and a very long power reserve, meaning that even if you take this watch off your wrist for about a weekend or so, maybe less than a weekend, you can put it back on your wrist and still have an accurate time. So that's a very nice thing about this movement. Here you see the Caseback. It does have some additional information on there, such as, of course, the fact that this watch is made in Japan. And there's some information about the movement and the water resistance as well, but largely it is not very decorated, just having an emblem of a mountain. Here you can see the gold applied indices, and then also the little lume pips that will light up. And later in this video you will get to see the classic Lume Shot. Seiko is very well known for having excellent lume. But this dial is really a beautiful dial. It is a green sunburst or radiant dial, meaning that in different angles you can actually see different shades of green. And the dial again is contrasted from the green with the golden colored applied indices, which really make this watch look somewhat luxurious as well. And the dial is surrounded by a polished stainless steel bezel, which, as you can see, does catch the light at different angles as well, which makes this a very attractive timepiece. The sides of the watch case are also polished as well, but with very nice angles, as you can see. There are very nice shapes that Seiko has designed into this case so that way it can again catch the light, but you have a unique shape on the wrist. Even the areas where the wristband meets the watch are polished too. Alright, let's unwind the watch. As you can see, this is a screw-in crown, and that's what helps to give it its water resistance. There we have pulled out the crown to the first position, and the first position would be where you can change the date function, as you can see. As we pull it to the second position, as you can see, the seconds hand has stopped. Therefore, this is what we call a hacking or hackable movement. Turning the crown allows us to adjust the time, as we would with any other watch. But the nice thing about having a hacking movement is that you can set that time to exactly the correct time, whereas with a lot of other automatic movements, that when you pull out that crown, the seconds hand doesn't really stop, so it doesn't allow for complete or perfect accurate time setting. When you push the crown back in to the first open position, but you're not yet applying force to screw back in the crown, you can actually turn the crown and wind the watch. And this is mostly useful if you have had the watch sitting without being worn for a couple days and it has stopped. Now this is the second crown on the watch, and this actually rotates the inner bezel, which has a compass function. So this watch is designed for mountain climbers and also explorers or hikers. And you can use this compass function to keep track of the direction that you're heading or the direction that you're coming from. So that is something that is unique about this watch. I don't have any other watch in my collection that has a compass function. All right, let's screw in that crown to preserve its airtightness, dust proofness, and water resistance. The crowns are both back in their original position now. Quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Christopher Ward C60 Trident. I love this watch. Let's take it off the wrist so that way you can see what does the Seiko look like on the wrist. Again, this is that leather band, the original one that comes with the watch. I call it leather. It's not real leather actually, and this is one of the few downsides to the watch is this original band. It just doesn't feel like it's the same quality as the rest of the watch, but look at how it looks on the wrist. It's actually a pretty good size. I do have a 7-inch in circumference wrist, so that gives you an idea of how it would look like if your wrist is similarly sized. But it has a good presence on the wrist. And I really like this size. Again, it's a 38mm watch, so it is not big in today's standards, but it's more of a classic sized watch. This watch was released in 1961, and it has stayed true to its heritage for the most part. There have been a couple iterations of this watch, and this exact model is discontinued now, so you cannot find this brand new anymore, really. You can get it on the used market for roughly 1.5 to 2 times what I paid for it originally, so this watch has gained in value. As you can see, it does have a clasp that is unsigned. Again, not something I'd expect on a Seiko watch, but that's the way it comes. But there is some niceness or harmony between the green and the brown that does go pretty well together. I think that the brown leather does kind of symbolize its ruggedness and the fact that this is a watch that's meant to be worn outdoors and in active activities. Alright, so that was pretty much the watch review. You'll get to see the Lume Shot in a little bit, but I hope you liked this video and that it was informative to you. This is a watch that you don't see that often anymore, but it's a beautiful watch and it's really one of a kind. There it is again, displayed next to my Trident C60, which is another nice, very nice watch. Of course, it's a diving watch, so you can see there are very different style watches. And again, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys, so that you can watch more videos as I produce them. I'm going to be coming out with even more exciting videos. No hints given here. You'll have to see them yourself. And here we are about to do the Lume Shot, where you can actually see the luminosity of this watch in the dark. It does have Seiko Lume, which is very well known for being not only bright but long-lasting in dark conditions. So let's turn off this LED flashlight and let's see what it looks like. Take a look at that. Again, we are not let down by Seiko Lume. It is very, very bright and long-lasting. This is a slightly long clip just to show you that it really doesn't fade that quickly. In fact, sometimes when I take this watch off at nighttime, early in the morning, maybe just before sunrise, if I happen to wake up and I look at the watch, it is still easy to see the time at that time just because the luminosity is that long lasting. So It's really one of the special things about this watch as well, and it plays into the fact that this is an activity watch, something to be used and relied on outdoors.